We had our water meter fitted yesterday.
Woohoo!
Took them about 3 hours. They dug up the road just in front of the house here, and yeah, 3 hours later we had a water meter in. So what they do is they just bring the water to your house. So this is all the work that they done yesterday. We need to now connect to this connector here, this tap, via various pipes and 90-degree angles. So that's what we're on with today. So the first part of the job today, before we actually get on with any plumbing, which looks reasonably straightforward, to be honest with you, but the first part is to get our positioning for our tap in place, just so that I know where the pipe is going to come from and to. So the idea is that we're going to have the tap in about that position, something like that and something like that. So I think that is our plan. So I think I'll line it up with this tile here. It looks quite square and quite nice, and we'll just attach that with a few screws, and then that will be where our tap will sit.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Does that look alright there then?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And if I just kind of go straight in. So one of the difficulties with this is the amount of tight space we're now working with just here. I need to take that off, and we need to attach everything to this part here, but we've got very limited space. So luckily they have left us a little bit of movement in the plastic box, which will then enable me to drill a hole through the back and maybe join this hole with that hole, and we can just go straight through the back rather than through the side there, because we're already hitting on this wall here. So my plan now, yeah, is to drill this hole on the back of this plastic box.
That's quite tidy. We'll just have to try it and see if you need to take any more for the size of the pipe.
Have to do it the old school way. Have to do it old school. Hit it with a hammer. So having a little bit of difficulty again with the angles and space that we're working in, but the main water meter is in here, bringing the water through there, and we've put the PTF tape around, and this is our first, or should we say our second angle that we're now putting in. Straight into the meter. Let's go for it. It's a bit difficult in that space that we're working still, isn't it?
Yeah, you just can't get your fingers in, can you?
Yeah. Okay. There we go.
Good.
That's our first
Angle.
well, our second angle. One there metal and one there in plastic.
Good.
Looking good. So it's all looking very neat and tidy. Straight out of the meter, around a very nice neat angle here. A very nice neat angle. I'm quite impressed actually. And now all we need to do is bring a pipe up from here to our tap area, and then attach our tap, and hopefully that'll all be done. And then it's time to test it.
210's not enough.
Just trying to keep it as straight as... Yeah. Am I going the wrong way as well? That's right. Yeah, that's it. Okay, back to Frank's. It's the opposite to that one, isn't it? Yeah, it's just because it's a bit of a angle as well, isn't it? They all feel really tight, so I'm kind of hoping that they are. There is the odd spot where I could probably tighten it up a little bit more, but I don't want to over tighten it as well. It's always a little bit of a worry with plumbing. Not that I've done loads of plumbing, but the plumbing that I have done in the past has always leaked. So we'll see. I think that's it. We're going to give it a test. Okay, found the first leak. There's the first leak. Let's go for it then.
Ready?
Oh my goodness. I don't look. Well, there is a leak, but it's nowhere near as bad as it was before. That is solvable. That's just on this one here. We can tighten that. There's no other leaks anywhere else.
Slight drip there.
Okay, so take 7. Let's go for it. Wow.
Slight drip on the tap.
That's it. No drips inside the meter box.
Very slight.
Slight again. Okay. Okay, we're nearly there.
Still a drip there.
Oh my goodness me. Take 8. I'm standing right in the line of fire. Go for it.
There is still a very slow, like 1 drip at a time here.
Go for it.
It's on.
It's on?
Yeah.
Oh, so there's no leaks? Apart from that little tiny one there?
That one
oh wow.
drip,
so we've done it.
Probably live with that.
We've solved the problem.
Ta-da! I think you've done it. Good morning. Early morning, while it's nice and cool, we're off to the land to do some work with the trees, and now that we have our water, I'm really hoping that they're going to survive the intense heat that's going to come during the summer. So it might seem crazy to be driving our water to the land, but we're already there, so let's get on with the day. So firstly, Elaine's asked us just to do a bit of weeding around the bottom of the trees, just to get rid of some of the weeds that are growing up, and using the weeds as mulch actually seems to be working quite well, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. So yeah, the soil underneath, if you have a look there, the soil underneath the mulch is actually quite damp. So just get these pieces out like that. Put this back in. Yep. And then just drag all of that back in and
drag all the dead stuff back in.
Yep.
Like that.
That's all the mulch.
That's actually helped, hasn't it? Kept it moist.
Yeah, definitely. Just stops the sun from drying out the surface of the soil.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't chop the trees down though. This olive tree was one of the first trees that we planted on the land, and it's different to all of our other olive trees at the top, which have been established for years, because this is one of those large eating olive trees. But it's quite typical of how we planted our trees and how we're sort of looking after them now. So we dug a real big hole, as big as we could. The pot was only this big, but our hole is this big. Filled it with nice compost as well as the surrounding soil, and then planted the trees in and made like a bowl shape, so when it rains the rainwater collects and soaks deep into the soil. Now we've got our chop and drop mulch from the weeds around, and what I've done, you'll have noticed, is add a bottle to every tree. This one has got a tiny hole, well, two tiny holes in the bottom that I made with just like a screw, just the pin head of a screw, and then once or twice a week we just fill up and the water slowly soaks down into the ground and actually penetrates the soil so that the tree is getting the benefit from it. And it seems to be working really well. All of the trees are now in leaf and looking quite healthy, and we're really pleased that they're all still alive. And now that we have our water, that's a real game changer for us. The other thing I like, that since we started to work on our little hillside and it's been cleared of all of the old pines, the native trees are now starting to come back up. And here is an excellent example of a little oak. So we have lots of these coming up in our forest area, or what will be our forest area, and I'm really pleased about that. So long time project, but well worth it. So we've seen the olive tree, let's go and have a look at some of the others. This is one of my pear trees and it's doing absolutely brilliantly. So all of the trees that we put in were very young trees. They all look like dead sticks when we got them, and it's just the way that they come. And we put most of them in way back last October and November, when it was cool but the soil was still warm, and yeah, just they had the chance of all of the winter rain, and there was a lot of it last year, to the point where we sort of wondered, were they going to get waterlogged and washed out? But now we're in the opposite situation. We're meant to be in spring, but it feels like full summer, and we've had the water put on to help the trees survive. So this lovely pear tree will have its water, and all of the plastic containers that we're using are just ones that we have either bought water in or some juice, and are being recycled again and again, so they've had several lives. There we go. And they just slowly seep out and help the tree grow. But this one's got a lot of leaf on, which I'm really pleased with. And because they're so young, it did have some blossom on, and if I see any fruit trying to develop while it's so young, then I'll just gently rub them off, because what we want is lots of root growth and lots of leaf growth, so that it can photosynthesize and really make a strong, healthy plant to survive the wet winters and the hot summers, and then start to produce us fruit in a few years' time.
So you take the fruit off, is it more to concentrate the energy? Concentrate
the energy, yeah. We don't want it thinking, oh, I've done my job by producing fruit and a seed. So we take those off, and it'll concentrate all its energy into its roots and into its upper growth as well. Here we've put in 2 blackberries, 2 different kinds of blackberries. One is a thornless one. I honestly can't remember which way around they are, but looking at this, I think this is the thornless one. These were just a couple of little plants, so I think they were a couple of euros each, and they have probably quadrupled in size since we put them in. This one's ready to come into flower. As you can see, there's one tiny flower just bursting out there. Lots of new growth, and the other one has actually got a few little immature fruits on, so they're doing really well too. So we'll give this one its water, and then I'm going to show you some of my favourite trees, which are my castanhas. This is one of my beautiful castanhas, or sweet chestnut, and I have 2 of these. You need at least 2 for them to be pollinated, and absolutely love sweet chestnut. Delicious, delicious. But this is, you have to be in it for the long haul with sweet chestnuts, because they do take a long time to get established, although it's doing brilliantly well. It was literally just this main stem with 4 branches coming off. I think the other one is pretty much the same, but for months and months it was just dormant all through the winter, didn't look like anything. Were the last ones to put any leaf on in the spring, when spring started, but now they're bounding away, and I think these are like the little fruits or the little flower buds. We'll just have to wait and see, because I'm not really sure. I've never grown this before, but it's something that I can grow now because I have the space. So we'll give it some water and a little bit of love, and we'll keep it alive. Yep. This is one of my cherry trees, and doing really well again. Did have lots of little blossom on the top, which you can see is now all dried off, but that's okay. Don't really want it to fruit this year, but I have 2. This one is like a black cherry, so I'm hoping that'll be really sweet for eating, and the other one is like a yellow and blush cherry, so it has a pink blush on it, and again either eating or cooking for that one. But both of the cherries are planted in one of our berms, and got potatoes in with them as well, and they seem to be enjoying sort of the moisture that is held inside the berm. So we'll give this one a water as well. When the pines were cleared, it brought to light lots of native trees, and not just the tiny little corks or the oaks that we're finding are coming up, but some quite established ones like this beautiful madronia. And we have several of these now. So we've got a big massive one in the circular bed next to the garden house that we're building. We have another another one over to my left, and then in the background you'll probably see the big green tree, and that's another beautiful madronia. And what I did with that one is I cleared all of the small branches and the branches that were sort of around the base coming out of the ground, and it gives it this lovely, I don't know, architectural feel to it. But they produce these lovely green leaves which are always looking healthy and beautiful, and then they make little strawberry type plants, like a strawberry type fruit, and that's what is used to be fermented or brewed and makes aquadent, which is a very strong alcohol here in Portugal. It also brought to light another olive tree, and this one has obviously been an old olive tree before, but it's been cut and then has grown out and is looking fabulous. So all of these big ones, these old established ones, are now getting the water, they're getting the light since all the pine trees were removed. And here's another example of an oak tree and another one, and they're just popping up all over the place. So it's going to be fabulous if we can manage this land in about 5-10 years time. There's going to be so much shade, and the soil underneath will start to improve, and it'll just be so much better than it is at the moment. This one was given to me by my friend who lives in the village from Elaine, and she was clearing out her garden, and she has a marmalade tree, and that's what they make marmalade, which is like a jam. So this fruit tree was literally just like this big when she gave it to me at the end of last year, and I put it in, and immediately all the leaves dropped off and it looked like it had died, and I thought, oh, sorry. But it has survived. It's clearly doing very well, so it's probably 3 times bigger than it was when it went in, and being a native plant, it's just boom, in and thriving and ready to go. As yet I haven't got a bottle for this one, so I think what I'll do, I think I have got another one in the greenhouse, but just a bit wary of tying something on this. I don't want to restrict it. I might have to find a way of keeping it in place slightly differently to the other trees, because what I did with all of the other trees was use some of the old curtains that had been in the minibus and cut them into strips so that I could use that to fasten the recycled plastic bottles around the trees. But this marmalade is doing really well, and I'm really pleased with it, so it can have its drink today as well, and I'll move on and finish watering the trees. That's been a good morning's work. We've weeded around the trees and used a sort of chop and drop mulch system. They're all watered, and it's almost breakfast time. As well as the trees that I've shown you, we also have apples, plums, pears. I have some raspberry canes and a blackcurrant bush. So we're really pleased with how things are going, and now that we have the water, I've got fingers really crossed that they're going to survive the heat of the summer that's going to come soon. It is starting to get warm now, and we haven't even had breakfast, so I'm going to say thank you very much for spending a bit of time with us. Take care, and we will see you on the next one. Bye bye.
Bye.